got distracted. I had to go and get a drink. It's not my fault. And by a drink, I mean the normal size. The regular sized bottle that is definitely normal. Good morning. It's another Monday. How are we all doing? Let's see who we've got. Hello, Plebiscite. Hello, Synergy, you animal. Hello, Leo, Nobody, Gur, Mugoshi, Jaco, the Eternal Crusader. Yeah, things are very quiet on the 40k side. Very quiet. Just any sort of news would be lovely. We know we've got more Space Marine stuff incoming. Jerk. Okay, I remember that. Weekend was good, thank you, Rupert. I'm working on some stuff that I can't show you yet, but you will see tomorrow. And there's a good chance that you will then see them again, but reworked. Because I don't know. We'll have to see how the next few steps go as to whether I like what I've done or not. It's been one of those paint jobs. Have you all had a decent weekend, and how much hobbying did you get done? If the answer's none, that's also fine. You don't have to have a load of hobby done. It's totally okay. Oh, it's warm in here. It's warm, real warm. Oh. I mean, to be fair, the Tyranids have got some like cool stuff right now. I need to put together the few Tyranid models I've got. Actually, that's something we need to do. But we also need to finish the tanks, which we'll be doing on Wednesday. We're going to be doing Work in Progress Wednesdays again. It's going to be an evening stream. That's going to be a regular thing now. So, got no hobbying done. Oh, well, that's fine. Painted 4 termagants of 40. Oh dear, 40. I mean, at least that's still... Look, now there's only 36 to do. It's still progress. It still counts. Played a couple of games of Necromunda. Excellent. Started to paint World Eater Contemptor. Nice. We were supposed to be getting Legions, weren't we? I'm sure they did say that that was on its way, and suddenly not. And I don't think they would have done Legions and then Cities of Sigmar like the next week. That would have been a bit mad. Although they might have done. I don't know. Hello, Alexin. Yeah, no, it's like I don't necessarily think it's like hot, but it's just like it's super muggy. Like it just feels, the air feels damp, and I hate it when it's like that. I can cope with the dry heat. I don't like whatever this is. Oh yeah, it's gonna go. It's like 25 today. Ugh. Literally no one likes it. That's not true. Plenty of people like it, but I don't. Apologies for my voice a little bit. I've got to finish recording something later, so that's going to be fun because my voice keeps going like that. I don't know how to stop it. Hello, Stanky. Yeah, Legions. I'd love to know what caused... Did they say what caused it? Just that it's delayed, didn't they? And it must have been something, like, it must have been a real issue for them to come out and actually say that things are not going to plan. Normally they just pretend everything's fine or that things weren't going to happen to begin with. Looking at you, Curse City. Had the most productive hobby weekend ever. Finished all but 2 characters from Leviathan. Also got Blade Guard finished and got the airbrushing done on 20 intercessors. That is excellent work. Nice. I've been doing a bit of airbrushing myself, and it went quite badly. And there was a whole process. For some reason, right? This, which is my nice airbrush, my Cult of Paint Evolution, it doesn't work anymore. I don't know how else to phrase it. It does not work anymore because when I spray out of it, right? I mean, admittedly, I didn't clean it that well after the failed attempt yesterday because I was too busy. But like this, it sprays upwards at an angle. So if it's like that and I'm spraying, it goes like that. And it is so spotty, it's literally unusable. And I don't know what's happened because it's completely clean. I've taken everything off. I've cleaned it out. Like, I've cleaned it several times. It just... I don't know what's happened. It was and is in fact, actually looking at it, no, I did clean it. It's completely clean. But it's terrible. Well, that's the thing, right? I thought bent needle. I thought maybe it's the needle's bent. But I've taken the needle out. The needle looks fine, and it's not just fine. It's also, it always, no matter which way, like if you take the back off and you physically turn the needle slightly, it always sprays out like that every single time. No matter what you do with the needle, no matter how you turn it, because if the needle was bent, right, I would have thought that if the needle is bent, then that would dictate which way like it sprays out. But it always goes up towards the top, even if you turn the needle inside the airbrush, so that if it was bent, it would be bent a different way. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know what's going on with it, but it's a pain because it's my better airbrush. Like I've got two airbrushes. I have this one, which is the nice one, in theory. It's the nice one in theory. That maybe the little nozzle. Maybe the little tiny one out the front. I also don't know how that would have happened because I've never dropped this or anything. It's not been on the floor. I've not done anything outside of clean it. So, yeah. I was trying to use that and I couldn't use it because it was awful and just spotted everywhere and the spray was all over the shop. So instead I used this, which is like a 15 quid. Is it a Badger airbrush? It might not even be. It might not. I don't even know what brand it is. I grabbed it because I wanted something to do like to spray like chipping medium and streaking grime and the like, and I didn't want to do it through the nice airbrush, so I've got this one, and now I'm having to use this one for everything because the other one, I don't know what's happened to it, but it's not ideal. It is not great. The brush is, I want to say 2 years old. The Cult of Paint one. So what, do you reckon I just need to replace the nozzle, maybe replace the needle, see if that does something? Because like I want to use it. It's a good airbrush when it works, but it's just given up the ghost. So, I don't know. It's frustrating, is what it is. Like, it's properly frustrating, because it's like, I want to use this thing, and I can't. Yeah, that's the thing, J-Dog. I was just like, well, I want something cheap and easy to mess about with, and if it breaks, then it doesn't matter because it costs like 15 quid. And I bought one. It wasn't just, that's the thing, right? This wasn't just the airbrush. It came with a full kit. It was like a full box. And for the amount that I paid, it was insanely good value. I'm now going to double check and see exactly what it was, because you know I would honestly recommend this cheap, like incredibly cheap airbrush. There we go. It was a Timber Tech. Oh, it's gone up in price. It's not 15 quid anymore. It's not 15 quid anymore. It's a Timber Tech airbrush kit that literally has like nozzles and adapters and all sorts of stuff in a box, and somehow it's just worked really well. Really well. And it feels like it shouldn't be as good as it is. It feels like it should be like nasty. Just like cheap and nasty. But somehow it works. It works good. So potentially needle and nozzle is what I need to replace on the Cult of Paint one. I mean, I'll do it because I want to use it because it's really good. It's way more controllable. But yeah, just a shame because I was trying to use it and I needed it and it was not having it. And I mean, if I take this guy off here, like you can see the issue. uncontrollable, like absolutely uncontrollable rate of flow. It like comes spattering out, and you can see the spotting is really bad. Just everywhere. It just goes everywhere. Annoying. Okay, now I need to know. Now I need to find out how much a new nozzle is. I'm sure it won't be expensive, but still. I don't want to. I don't want to have to replace parts. I want all of my stuff to just work infinitely. And that's it. Is that too much to ask? Is it too much to ask, gang, that things just work indefinitely without me having to do any sort of work or maintenance? Is that too much to ask for? The answer is yes, it is, by the way, if you're wondering. The answer is yes, it is too much to ask for. Don't be ridiculous. But, you know, I can't help it. I can't help being relatively lazy and just wanting things to work. I mean, why did I ever get into 3D printing, is the question, given that that's my attitude. Good grief. Okay, well, a quick glance on Element, and I can apparently just buy a coat of paint evolution paintbrush in all the pieces it comes in. So that I should be able to find what I need there. Oh yeah, getting an airbrush just for priming is a good idea. It's more reliable and more consistent than spray cans for a start, and you also use way less paint. Like, the amount of wasted paint you get out of a can is unreal. Unless you're painting like unless you're doing like tanks or big scenery, it's totally worth getting an airbrush instead of doing cans every time. Yeah, 3D printers are a whole thing. A whole thing. I always use the same thing every single time. I use Vallejo premium airbrush color, just black, just that. I've used that for like every material, and it always seems to work. I've already given it a bath in airbrush cleaner for 24 hours, Alex. It's been I've been dealing with this for a little while, and I thought I'd sorted it. And I hadn't sorted it. It just went back to being terrible again. This is like a multi-stage issue I've been having with this airbrush, where it started off like not being great, and then it was fine, and then it started being not great again, and then it just steadily got worse no matter what I did, including cleaning it fully and thoroughly several times, and then I came to use it the other day, and it was just disaster. I've had spattering issues caused by paint pooling and the little needle protector at the front. Taping that off while spraying solves the splatter. See, I've taken that off as well to try that, and it's just not happening. Because I did have that thought, because like, you know, you can get like a lot of just random nonsense caught up in it, but even with it off, it still does the same thing. So I just want my thing to work. I'll tell you what the one exception to the spray cans thing is. Colourforge. Colourforge matte black is my favourite base coat of anything, but it's unfortunately a bit tricky to get hold of sometimes. Seems to go out of stock a lot. Sacrifice 3 coats before even starting up my airbrush. I mean, it's very sensible, to be honest, Steve. It's such a pain. Good morning, Rybo. We're commiserating each other on airbrush issues. Now, I'm gonna warn you now. I'm gonna warn you now, gang. This isn't gonna be the longest stream we've ever done, because I'm behind on a few things, and I've got so much stuff I need to do. But we are gonna do the Monday Ramble. We are gonna take a look at the previews. And we are going to have a brief chat about that Vanguard task force that upsettingly, right, has immediately gone out of stock. Now that concerns me. That worries me. So the Vanguard task force, right? The Vanguard task force is that half of, I forget which box it was, but it's half of a Space Marines versus, I think it was the Chaos Space Marines box, and it's got the eliminators, it's got the infiltrators, and it's got the suppressors in it. And when it first showed up as a separate half of the box, it was like 65 quid, okay? Which, you know, it's not the worst price they've ever come out with, but also more than, you know, half of the value of that box. If you bought that box, you could have got these things for a lot less. And of course, they've shown up in Imperium for considerably less as well. So, Shadow Spear, thank you very much. That is the one. And then it went away again. And then it showed up as a start collecting. And it showed up as a start collecting like Vanguard Space Marines or whatever. And it had an impulsor in it, and it was 85 quid. Then it disappeared again. And now it's reappeared for a third time. And it's still £85, except you will note that there is a distinct lack of impulsor in here. Like, it's still £85, but now it's missing the tank it came with in the second iteration of what this box was. And that's really, really rough. Like, from £65 to £85 is quite a jump anyway. I mean, I know that we've had a price increase across just Games Workshop stuff in general, and obviously this is included in that. But it's the fact that we had that price jump, and it somehow felt not terrible, right? When the impulsor was in the box, it didn't feel like that severe of a price jump, because it was like, well, okay, alright. It's still the same things we had before. The box was 65 quid, but there is a full tank in there now, and that tank is you know, it costs more than the extra 20 quid that they added onto the box when they put the tank in there and made it a start collecting. Now they've taken that out and still charge 85 quid for it. And when you look at it through the lens of taking away an entire tank but not reducing the price, it makes it feel way more egregious than a lot of Games Workshop's pricing stuff, right? It makes it very, like, it's impossible to ignore the lack of a, like, higher value item in the box, because it is now just what they used to charge 65 quid for, but for no tangible extra benefit, there's an extra 20 quid on top. And the thing is, like, it gets that little bit worse. Because it's not just, you know, like, missing the impulsor, which actually made it seem like not terrible value at £85. Now it just doesn't feel good at all. It's also the only place to get suppressors, still. Like, you can get eliminators. You can get a box of 3 eliminators if you want eliminators. If you want infiltrators that also can be built into other stuff, I forget the other unit names that they can do, because everything starts in "ir" and ends in "or", and I get confused. I mean, that's just a general issue with both Space Marines and Stormcast Eternals. It's not just that kind of lack of value. It's the fact that you still can't get suppressors separately. You have to buy this box if you want suppressors. And I don't know why that's happened. Because, like, a lot of the other stuff that came in these boxes, that came in these big army versus army kind of box sets, you can get separate versions of. Like, you can get separate aggressors, you can get separate inceptors, you can get separate everything, pretty much. From what I can tell, and from what I can vaguely remember, this is one of the very, very, very few examples where there is just no option for a squad in the Codex for Space Marines Index now that you can't buy separately. So if you want the suppressors, you've got to spend £85 on a box that has got stuff that you could buy separately if you wanted to, because they have their own kits that are not part of the box. It's so backwards and weird, and I do not understand, firstly, how it's gone temporarily out of stock. Like, does that mean it has sold out on the site? Because that's rough. If that is the case, that's rough, because that's directly rewarding, Like, I mean, it's just gouging behaviour at this point. You take a full tank out of the box and it's still 85 quid, come on. But also, the fact that it is only this specific situation in which you can get suppressors is ludicrous, and it shouldn't be like that. You shouldn't have to buy this to get hold of suppressors. Like, I don't know whether suppressors are even good. I don't care. That's not the point. The point is that the customer, the consumer, should be able to buy the thing they want without being saddled with, like, 13 extra models that could well be totally irrelevant to what you actually need. It's just all round bad. It's just a bad box. It's a bad box because I don't understand the target market for it now. The target market presumably is only people who need suppressors, but they've got no other way of buying them. Because it's not a start collecting. Because start collectings aren't a thing anymore. It's also not got the full range of options that the second iteration of the box has. And it also costs the same as the second iteration of this box, but you get less. It's like a whole stack of no. It's easily the most annoying thing that they've released for a little while, because it's not new, there's nothing extra in it, it's the only way to get hold of a certain unit, and it costs as much as it did when you had more stuff in the box. All round terrible. No. Stop buying it. Just don't. Oh, it bugs me. It bugs me so much, gang. It bugs me so much. I don't like it. Like, why can you not get suppressors anywhere else? Why not? Why not? It doesn't make any sense, does it? I mean, come on. Yeah, Imperium was like £27.50, I believe. You could get these for. Like, that's not bad for this. That's really good. Whenever you got the Shadow Spear, I put the suppressor arms and jump pack on regular intercessor bodies. That's cool. Yeah. Oh yeah. Also, only GW. Only GW you can buy them from. You can't get them for a discount. It's so rough. That was the other one, wasn't it? The Master of Possession. Yeah, he was Shadow Spear only, but then he was available. So they've made the Captain with Relic Shield and the Lieutenant with Storm Shield out of Indomitus available. The Master of Possession is now fine. I mean, I'm not surprised that went out of stock, because the fact that you've not been able to buy that separately is ridiculous. The only things from Shadow Spear you cannot get alone anymore are the suppressors and that one specific lieutenant. Everything else is available on its own. Absolutely ridiculous. It's wild. It's absolutely wild to me. Oh, temporarily out of stock Inquisitorial Agents. Not surprised about that. I'm surprised the Felgor Ravagers didn't go. I'm genuinely surprised about that. That's We're probably still seeing the results of the massive effort on Leviathan. Probably still catching up on the stuff they didn't produce whilst cranking those boxes out. The thing is, though, everything else is there, apart from the Lieutenant and the suppressors. And I mean, do the suppressors not perform well enough for them to give them their own like box? Like all the other stuff.
14 AK acrylic paints in the post. Well, happy.
Nice. Thank you very much, Killer Kriegsman. Woken Doreen up out of her slumber. She got a workout on Friday. But made a new friend out of it, so it's good. It's all good. Oh, we've reset the member goal for the stream. If we get 10 per stream, that would be amazing. I am also willing to concede that it's unlikely to happen today, because it's going to have to be a shorter stream. But it's there. If you want to give someone the gift of a membership, it's something you can do. But it's totally up to you. Yeah, I'm not surprised that the Inquisitorial Agents has already gone, but I am surprised the Felgor Ravagers haven't gone out of stock. Well, yeah, that's the thing, right? That's the thing, Stanky. It's like if you want to put them in your army, okay, you need to buy 16 models for the 3 that you want. Most people are not going to do that. Most people are not going to do that. And also, surely that eats into the sales for infiltrators and eliminators. Because if anyone who wants suppressors has to buy those extra kits, I bet if you go on eBay, there's a good number of them, right? There's got to be a good number of like infiltrators on eBay, just purely because of infiltrators Warhammer. Oh wow, look at that. There's a good number of listings for infiltrators, funnily enough, and quite a few of them are on sprues that have been cut away from other thing. In fact, let's just have a quick glance at, let's say this particular listing. What have we got here? Well, it's sprues that have been cut away from something else. I wonder what they've been cut away from. It almost like the eliminators aren't on there, but the suppressors aren't on there either. Shocking. Shocking, isn't it? It might just be that they are endlessly playing catch-up, like with their own success. That they are just endlessly like, oh God, we need to keep releasing stuff, but we can't spend the time to do this thing because we need to work on other things, etc., etc. Like, I don't know, maybe that'll be it. Maybe that'll be what the deal is. I just don't like there being no option for buying suppressors outside of, you know, spending the cash on a box full of stuff you don't need. I don't like it when they do that for anything. Suppressors are like 40 quid? Oh, Jesus. Yeah, because if you want them without the rest of the crap, you've got to look at them on eBay. Oh, mind you, you can get pre-owned painted ones for like 22 quid, £21.50, although that's bidding, 30 quid, pre-painted. A lot of them are bids or like high best offers, which it kind of suggests that there's people buying the box and breaking them down specifically for this because they know they'll do well out of it. Which again, if Games Workshop just released a squad that didn't require buying that box, that wouldn't happen. But, you know. Troll Trader has them for £23 horribly painted. How horribly are we talking here? Are we talking eye-bleedingly terribly or just not great? Yeah, it's true, Stanky. Yeah, that's probably what you pay for them if buying them a box from James Workshop. Oh, mustard yellow, my favourite. That's not true. I don't like mustard yellow. Don't like painting yellow in any way, shape or form, in fact. I mean, mustard yellow, yeah, no, mustard yellow, there's a brownness to a mustard yellow, which, I don't know. It's not something I'd paint my miniatures in, I'll put it that way. Aberius, the track that intros and outros the videos is basically a track I got off Audio Jungle, and I forget the name of it, but it is one of those ones where you pay for the right to use it, and you can use it on stuff. It's like a generic synthwave. I think it's called like Synthwave number 2 or something. It's something really like it didn't really have a name. The track. Beautiful Synth Main or something. I think it's called. Hang on, let me have a look and see if I can find the file name. It is literally one of those ones where you just pay for being able to use it as an intro and an outro, and then you've got access to it forever. Beautiful Space Synthwave. That's literally the name. Oh, you'd never know that it was designed purely for rando YouTube idiots to stick in tracks without having to talk about it, would you? Really, I should make my own, but I've never got around to it. Or at least I've started it and then got distracted and done something else, which is a pretty good explanation as the entirety of my creative life. Workshop has priced me out here in Australia, moved on to Song of Ice and Fire and Black Powder Epic Scale, $160 for an entire French army compared to $230 for a Vanguard task force. Yep. It's pretty rough. I mean, at least with the combat patrols now, they are like... At least with the combat patrols, there's a dedicated game mode and stuff for them. With that task force, it's just... It's literally just, here's a bunch of models in a box. And that's it. That's the whole thing. The problem is that if you start like comparing other systems to Games Workshop and then looking at things like how much combat patrols and army in boxes cost, then it gets like upsetting. So like, I need to do something about this. So that was a weird thing to say out of context. I thought something and then finished the sentence off out loud. So Mantic, you want to play Kings of War? You want a full army in a box? Well, you can do that for £115. Now, that's quite a bit of stuff for 115 quid. When you consider that that the Cities of Sigmar box is going to be what, £125, and the Cities of Sigmar box is that. So we have what? We've got 5 cavalry. We've got 5. I mean, it'll say we'll 2 units of 10 steel helms, 5 cavaliers, a 3 guild marshal, and an alchemite warforger. So about I think about 125 quid. I think that's how much the last one was. I'm losing track so badly of like costs because they're so massive that I think I'm starting to block them out. But then you compare that to that, and it doesn't look as good value. You know, it's like, yeah, it's going to be cheaper than buying all that stuff separately, but the cost to entry is getting really, really significant. Like any of these really. I mean, if you just go for a normal sized army, 75 quid for the amount of stuff that you're getting. I mean, 75 quid, this is the equivalent of a Vanguard box or a combat patrol. And I've picked a big army here. So, yeah, it's a bit... It's definitely a whole thing when you look at how much it is to just get into other games. I know, obviously, things like miniature quality, material quality, all that sort of thing. Those are not directly those are more subjective. But when it comes to just cost of entry into different systems, Games Workshop are definitely really pushing the envelope in terms of how much they are willing to charge. You know. Some of the Kings of War stuff looks really good. Some of it is definitely not to my taste. It's definitely like Games Workshop have a bit of a lead over a lot of companies in terms of the overall quality of their miniatures. The aesthetics of it is one of those things that is subjective, but the overall quality of like the quality of detail, how crisp they are, how clean they are. That's something that you can objectively say that Games Workshop is better at, right? When it comes to the actual models, like there's a lot of like subjectivity going on there. Because maybe that's not a good example, but like if you like that style, then you could easily say, well, I actually prefer Kings of War, I prefer Mantic, which would be fine because it's a subjective thing. But when it comes to like looking at the overall level and quality of detail on this model versus looking at the overall level of detail and quality on like these models, it's fair to say that Games Workshop fully has an edge there. But when it comes to cost of entry, that's where Games Workshop are absolutely hammering people. Not just cost of entry, cost of just the hobby as a whole for all people. Never accept Games Workshop being angry about 3D printing ever again. Go check out their pictures for Chaos Raptors. Why am I just typing that in? So which what? Okay, these ones. Warlord Games Historical Army Box sets 28mm scale, 150 models in the box, and comparables with Warhammer Fantasy Battles for 220 plus postage. Yep. Alright, what am I looking for here, Eternal Crusader? Oh, the zoomed in ones. Oh yeah, no, they're covered in print lines, yeah. They're absolutely covered in print lines. But, okay, right, this might get me in trouble, right? This could get me in trouble, but I'm gonna do something here that I know some of you are not gonna like. I'm just gonna say it now. I'm going to do something that some of you will not like. It's not hypocritical. There is a massive difference between 3D printing prototypes and display models and selling 3D prints. Games Workshop aren't selling these. Games Workshop aren't selling 3D printed models. They're selling plastic models. They're selling models where they have to get the molds made, that they then, like, they are doing, like, injection molding and stuff. They're not printing these out and sending to you the printed models. These are prototypes. These are prototypes and these are display models, which they use for promotional purposes and for testing well before you get the finished product. Like, this isn't the same thing. Now, if they were, like, printing models and sending them out and charging you like 85, for instance, like a Combat Patrol, charging 95 quid for models that you could just print at home if they gave you the STLs, that would be one thing, because they would be 3D printing themselves. But they're not doing that. You're getting a totally different material. You're not getting something with print lines all over it. At least you shouldn't be. When it comes to like Forge World and stuff, yes, there have been instances of people getting stuff with print lines on because of using 3D printed models to make the molds. But like this guy, you will not find on this model any hint of layer lines from 3D printing. This has got flawless surfaces apart from where I've failed to scrape off like the mold lines or whatever, but like 99% of it is flawless surfacing without any of the imperfections you get from 3D printing. Because it's not a 3D print. It's plastic. That's what you're paying for. You're paying for the design, you're paying for the material, you're paying for the packaging, you're paying technically for the rules as well. If it was a case of Games Workshop getting angry because they 3D print their models and send them to people, and people at home dare to also 3D print their models, that would be one thing. That would be a massive amount of hypocrisy. But that's not the service they're providing. Like, they have to get this stuff prototyped, they have to make sure that they have display models, like, ready and painted well before the actual product release. It makes no sense for them to spend, like, years and years working on something, and then when it comes to trying to promote it, they've got to wait until the full production run. Like, that wouldn't work at all. And how else are you going to test fit and finish in terms of, like, shoulder pads, arms, heads, backpacks, all that stuff? Like, you can't just make the mold and then go, well, I hope all of that works, but, obviously we haven't tested any of it. No, they need to do something before the actual production phase of the model and sending it out to people, and they're not going to make a plastic mold for everything that they do well before they even know whether it would work or decide to put it to market. Like, it would be insane. They would be bankrupt. Yeah, imagine investing a few £100,000 in a brand new mould before you even know what the model looks like when it's painted. No one would do that. Absolutely no one would do that. Like, it's not the same thing. I just don't think it's hypocrisy. Admittedly, I will say that they could get better 3D printers. Right? I'll say that much. When you see lines that egregious on models, a little part of me is like, come on, lads. Like, you're worth £1 billion. Could you maybe, like, I don't know, try print them at a different angle or something so that they're not quite as bad as they are? But, like, in terms of hypocrisy, I just don't think it's hypocrisy. There's a vast difference between production 3D printing and prototype 3D printing, and they're not doing production 3D printing. They're prototyping. It's not the same thing. And they're not selling the service of 3D printing. They're using 3D printing as a means to test the service that you are actually paying for. So yeah, that may well upset someone, but I also don't think it's untrue. I just don't think it's the same thing, you know? I mean, you can get... mild spoilers, you can get 3D prints now that are borderline indistinguishable from, like, plastic miniatures. I have some that are right here. I can't show you yet. But once base coated, you would absolutely not be able to tell the difference. In fact, even without the base coat, frankly, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. But Games Workshop doesn't seem to use 3D printers of that type because quite often there are some fairly noticeable layer lines, which just makes it like there is definitely an element. There is definitely an element of like, really, guys, really, you want some more layer lines on that? When it comes to some of their promotional images, which I don't know, maybe it's just they don't need it. Maybe it's just they don't need it. Like, it might just be that the reason that it can be quite prevalent on some of their promotional images is that they could replace whatever 3D printers they've got with ones that are much higher resolution or high quality or whatever. But really, it's a case of what you're getting in the box is better than what they've shown you. So does it even matter? And if the principal use of those 3D prints is for prototyping and testing, and then they go on to be used for promotional images, does it even matter? Like, if the whole point is you print the parts that you need as laid out by the sculptors to see if they fit together properly and to check that it works as an actual physical image in front of you, like as a playable piece, so to speak, does it matter if it's got a few layer lines? Does it? I don't necessarily think that it does, to be honest. But, you know, as someone who's done a fair bit of 3D printing myself, it does make me laugh when I see them. Because I don't like seeing layer lines on my models. Like, I don't like seeing layer lines on stuff that I've printed. So when I see promotional images and it's got like a load of them around the shoulder pad, a little bit of me is like, oh God, come on. But, like, case in point, this is so small and highly detailed. I don't know if this is even going to show up. This is a potentially future D&D character, and she's like really, really detailed, and she's got hardly any layer lines, but the ones that do show up bug me a little bit. But then she wasn't printed on like a industrial 3D printer. She was printed on a home 3D printer. She was printed on the Saturn II. And the Saturn II is good, but I would expect, you know, companies like Games Workshop to have access to or be able to afford things that are significantly better than that, you know? That would be my assumption, anyway. And I think it's a fair assumption to make. But yeah, they've got to test this stuff before they make the molds. It would be absolute insanity. It would be insanity for them to just go, all right, we've done the sculpting. this will probably work. Let's go. Like it, you just couldn't do it. See, that's the thing, Stanky. I would love them to provide individual bits again. I would absolutely love them to provide individual bits or provide STLs to print your own bits. But it's something that will get pirated so quickly. Like, it would just show up immediately. Everywhere. So that's one of those things where it's like it's a complete pipe dream. I would love to be able to just go, hey, I want a bunch of these legs off this model and pay a couple of quid and be able to print it at home. That would be incredible, but I just don't think that's likely to ever happen. Like, I kit bash everything. I kit bash literally everything, and there's parts that I want from different kits that it's just not feasible to spend the money on, because you'd have to buy the whole kit for like 2 pieces. Like Alariel, right? I want Alariel. I don't want the giant beetle that she's on. I don't need the giant beetle. The giant beetle is irrelevant for what I want. I just want the woman on top of it. But, funnily enough, 90% of people are not buying Alariel just for the giant beetle, so they don't have her lying around spare. Now, if there was an option for me to 3D print an Alariel and be able to use it at Games Workshop, like in Warhammer World, because I'd paid, a few quid for the STL, that would be quality, and I would be in for that 100%. But it's unlikely that they'd ever do it, because how do you prove that you specifically bought the STL yourself? Would you need to carry around the receipt every time you went down to Warhammer World or whatever? It would be possible to fake it anyway, and yeah, it would be great. It would be great, but I can see why they haven't done it. I used to be like, they should just do it. They're going to get left behind. But I don't know that that's necessarily true, at least not for a long time anyway. I mean, the giant beetle is kind of cool, but I just don't have a use for the giant beetle. Like, I don't need it. There's nothing that I want to do with it. I mean, if I had it in front of me, I might come up with something for it. It's true. But the thing is I want the woman on top. I'm not too bothered about the beetle. Like, I have ideas for stuff I could do with Alariel. Just the beetle, it's just not relevant to any of them, and I don't know what else I would do with it. I'd come up with something eventually, but, it would be a case of having to come up with something to make it worth buying the whole thing. And I'm not dropping 95 quid on something when I only have use for the woman standing on top of the thing you're paying most of the money for. It's just not. Like, I'll drop a bit of cash on a silly conversion once in a while, but that's just too much for me. £95 just for Alariel is... Nope. Absolutely not. I mean, the cost of getting hold of Alariel is £25 more than the cost of plans I have for 2 completely different Mega Gargants. So, it would just be a bit wild. It would just be a bit mad. It would just be a bit mad. Although now I am thinking about what I could do with the beetle, but I don't know. I mean, I'd come up with something, but feels like a lot to gamble, It feels like a lot to gamble. What if I didn't have any ideas? No, I just have a giant beetle and nothing to do with it, and no one just wants a giant beetle with nothing to do with it, It's too organic for that. It's too organic for just being a hell brute. It would need to be something else. It would need to be something mad. Like, something really, really wild. Like, thing is, as well, the beetle isn't actually all... Like, the beetle is big, but if it was, like, 50% bigger, it'd be cooler. The legs are cool. The legs would be super useful. In fact, the legs are really cool. How many are there? There's 6 legs, right? Because with the legs, you could do something like, you can maybe do something super, super creepy. And have we got? Now I'm thinking. At the moment, I've got 3,000 points of Mega Gargants. Two of them aren't painted though. Two of them aren't painted, so I don't know if those count. So you've got the... Okay, hang on. Wait a second. You've got the legs. You got the legs, right? If you did, like... What would be the best... What would be the best thing? What would be the best way to do something creepy with the legs? If you're going to make a Mega Gargant out of it, at least. Oh, the Endless Spell's back in stock. Oh, no, that's dangerous. So, something I am going to do. This is totally irrelevant. This is totally irrelevant, right? But something I am going to do is this hand. I need this hand. If anyone's got this hand, right, email me. I will buy this hand off you. Because an idea for another Cosmic Horror Mega Gargant that I had is this hand. Now, Laura Pegastix, who works with the Warhammer, who works at like Warhammer Community, she did a really cool version of this hand where it's like skittering along the floor, and I like that idea, but I don't want to do that. What I want to do is have this hand hovering above the base with strings coming down from each finger. So strings coming down from each finger attaching to a zombie or like an infantryman, so that it looks like it's puppeteering a group of people and they are unable to do, like, they don't have any free will, they're just being puppeteered around by this big floating hand in the sky. I really want to do that, but I've yet to see this hand come back into stock, and now it is in stock. And now, oh man, seriously, if anyone's got the hand, I need the hand, right? I need it. The hand is something I need. The hand is important. It's important that we have this, alright? Because I don't need the rest of this. Like, the face is totally irrelevant. I'm not going to do anything with the face. All this. Like, I just don't... I could probably do something with it, but it's not, like, at the forefront of my head. But yeah, that hand... That hand suspended above... Because it's already got, like, the ghostly stuff at the base, right? It's already got the ghostly stuff at the base of the hand. So you'd be able to have that facing up as though it is literally like this incorporeal thing that is just being formed out of nothing. And then, I mean, for the chain or rope, it would have to be something that's pretty strong. Maybe use brass rods and then kind of form green stuff around it to make it look like tendrils. But I've already got like a couple of infantry things that I would use. Like there's, it could be a mix of different things. Like you could have like a dryad, you could have a zombie, you could have a standard like warrior of some kind, like a chaos warrior. Yeah, I really want to do that, but I'm just not interested in the rest of this. Anyway, the beetle. What would we do with the beetle, right? If at some point we ended up with Alariel and her beetle friend. I feel like the legs are definitely usable on something. I feel like the legs would be good to use on some sort of scenery. Like having the legs be something sprouting out of like an inanimate object and making it walk round. That would be pretty fun. That would be cool. The herdstone could be interesting. You'd have to cut away the bottom and have the legs come out of the base of it, like around there. That could work. I've already used the Bone Tithe Nexus, so I don't feel like I could use that again. We've already got one of the Cosmic Horror Mega Gargants is already, you know, the Bone Tithe Nexus, like central column and a couple of the smaller ones sticking out the side, so that wouldn't work. like a second time, it would just look too uniform. I mean, there's definitely something that we could do with it. There's definitely something we could do with it. I'm just not sure what. The Awakened Wildwood, like a big... I mean, actually, a big old tree walking around with, like... with massive beetle legs sprouting out the bottom of it. That'd be pretty funny. Where all the cracks in the base, where the, where it would normally sit, if you stuff that full of skulls and arms of things trying to reach out, that would be fun. There's also like a bit of extra like foliage that goes on the beetle that you could hang off the tree. I think I've still got a skeleton in a cage that you could hang off it as well, so that would work. I don't know, that'd be pretty funny. The shipwreck, it would look cool, but then I wouldn't be able to use the shipwreck for something else. And I already have an idea for the shipwreck. I've already got an idea for what to do with the Gloomtide shipwreck. I'm going to make an undead Marienburg landship. So the undead Marienburg landship, it's something that's going to happen eventually. But so you get the boat. You get, where's the Skaven? There we go. So here's what you do, right? You get the boat. You get the Doom Wheel. I think we'll probably go for Warp Lightning Cannon as well. You get the boat, you get the Doom Wheel, and you get a Warp Lightning Cannon, because you need the wheels off them. You need the wheels. Or alternatively, the Screaming Bell would also work, but that is more expensive by quite a bit. So, take the ship. It's missing a big chunk down one side, obviously, because it's a shipwreck. So it'd be a case of getting some green stuff, or getting some lollipop sticks or whatever, and repairing it so that it has wooden planks all the way round. Probably extend it a little bit as well, so make it longer than it is, and use the Doom Wheel. So you can see the wheels on the Doom Wheel. You can put they're quite thick, so you have one on either side at the back, and then two of the smaller wheels from the side of the Warp Lightning Cannon. So those kind of metal bound wheels that go in the middle. So those would go at the front, and you'd need a cannon for it as well. You'd need a big cannon at the front, which you could use the Warp Lightning Cannon, but then that would look a bit odd. So probably it would be a case of getting... Where is it? There's an Ogre Moor Tribes. There you go, the Iron Blaster. So you then take the Iron Blaster, the big old cannon, and that can come out of the front of the ship. And it would be easy enough to build like a what is it, a forecastle or whatever it's called, on the back of this, or to repair that so that it was covered, and then you can use one of the smaller wheels from the Warp Lightning Cannon, one of the back ones there, to make a little a little steering column and stuff. You have to repair the mast as well, but that would be fine because you just use a big length of like plasticard pipe or whatever, and then you can texture it up. But at some point, I really want to do that. I don't know what I'd use it for, but it would be fun. It would be really, really fun. No, I love the Gloomtide shipwreck. It's cool. Doomstalker Cannon would look interesting, yeah. But yeah, that's a kind of collecting bits from other projects until I've got enough of them to be able to just grab the shipwreck and make it all come together, because I've already got a project that I need a Doom Wheel for, but I don't need the wheels, I just need the mechanisms inside it. And the Warp Lightning Cannon, I think I might have a couple of the wheels already lying around, but I don't know. But I'd quite like the struts, the supporting struts, because you could use that to build up the back of the ship. So yeah, none of that is relevant to the legs on the Beetle. None of it. Absolutely none of it's relevant. Hello, Tim. How you doing? We're trying to work out how to use legs. just legs. Just how to use legs. Although, as we've established, I'm not getting Alariel, so this is all totally pointless. The original, we were just going to talk about the Cities of Sigmar box, and it's just turned into absolute nonsense. You know what? Actually, the legs. You know what? The legs on a frigate that's been turned upside down. So you turn the frigate upside down, you put the legs so that it's like scuttling along and being dragged. Or you don't turn it upside down. You don't turn it upside down. What you do, right, you've got the legs, you don't put the keel on it, and you don't put the rudder on it. Instead, you have it lying back like that, and have the legs at the front so that it's like it's being pulled along by these skittering little insect legs. You can use the part of the carapace off the back of that to make part of the carapace off the back of this. You could easily use the the big like horns as well. But instead of using them as horns, use them as like something holding like a big sail above it. It would look really odd. It would look really, really weird. But it would be kind of cool. And that's the important thing. The important thing is that it looks cool, even if it does look mad. Totally something that we could do. Caratron Overlord's army would have been taken over by insects. Yeah, it's doable. It's totally doable. Anyway, we were going to talk about this. What a tangent. What a massive, absurd tangent. The Cities of Sigmar box is on the way. 120 quid, I think someone said earlier, which is £5 less than I thought it was going to be. I don't know why I thought 125, but I just did. Inside it, you got the lads, you got the steel helms, you got the cavalry. None of the solid gun dudes. None of those. Which, you know, I get it. But also, they're the best, and I want them. And it's sad they're not going to be in the box. Then again, the cavalry are great. All of them are great. To be honest, even that one model I wasn't sure about for the Cities of Sigmar, I now really like. The big lad with the little lad riding him, I wasn't initially convinced, but I've come around to that as well. So there's really nothing in the range that I don't like on some level. And these all look decent. Like, they all look like they're all good models. They really are. So you'll have, 27 total, which is not too bad. 5 of them being slightly bigger. It's lacking a big, like, central focal point, this box. It's looking a little... I feel like you need a little bit of a centerpiece, but then again, it is Sigmar, and they are like mainly focusing on the human side of things, like the mortal side. So unless you stuck that mad general and a manticore in the box, which they definitely would never do because that's going to be very, very popular when that shows up. Yeah, I understand entirely why they haven't done that, but it would have been amazing if they had. The cover for the battle tome looks good. I do like all the different crests of the different cities. Yeah, it's nice. It's nice. So 52 Sigmar units overall. Yeah, that sounds about right, doesn't it? For some reason, I thought it was less. I'm not going to get this box. I was tempted by it. I was really tempted. But realistically, the army that I want to start for them, I wouldn't get a lot of use out of this. Like, I would have the guys just to have the guys. And I want the... I want the big wall of artillery approach, and that this box doesn't give me that. So, but I will be starting Cities of Sigmar because it's solid. Oh yeah, we've also got Vanguard Seraphon. Huh. They showed this off ages ago, didn't they? Or am I misremembering? Look at the big, beefy lads. The big chunks. Look at them go. Anyway. Yeah, I mean, overall, they are really good-looking units. I think overall the faction they've done a really good job with. But this doesn't fit my like... This doesn't fit what I want for the army that I do. I want, like, the big cannons. I want a couple of those. I want the Fusiliers. Maybe some cavalry for some kind of flank charges. But for the most part, it's all range nonsense. I don't know that it's going to be good. It's probably not going to win any games because it's going to have such a heavy reliance on, like, just looking like a fortified wall of gun, but and some steam tanks, obviously. But yeah, I do like them. I just don't need them, and I'm not just buying things randomly at the moment. I'm grabbing what I need when I need it. So I don't think it's a bad box. I think if you're looking to start the army and you want something that is more infantry based, then it looks good, and we know the models inside are good. But it's not what I've got in mind. I want so many Fusiliers. And the Vanguard Seraphon box does look decent. I'm glad they've got a big lad. They've got a big lad on a big lad in there as well. Like, that's the kind of centerpiece thing that you sort of feel like you need for this. But I totally understand they've done, like, why they've done what they've done with it. They could have made this an almost perfect mirror of the Cadia Stands box because they both have a similar range. I mean, you know what? They could have done, to be fair. They could have done. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. The Loyalist Champion. Sure. I feel like Horus Heresy is this weird mix of, look at all this stuff for Legions, and also there's this one model we've got for the full-size game. I feel like that's happening a lot these days. Got a split nozzle? Okay. Yeah, I think I'll replace the nozzle and see what happens. I haven't seen all of them, Alec Man, but I do know that Fusiliers look pretty good. Which, once again, if that turns out to be something that's broken, I'm going to be very sad, because that's not how I pick armies. But it's happened a few times where I've been like, haha, I've picked this thing that would be fun, and then someone's gone, yeah, you know, that's actually quite good, right? And I'm like, oh. It's true, Horus Heresy did get a bunch of tanks released in plastic. Combat Arena, I'd forgotten that existed. Oh, hey, repurposed Blackstone Fortress miniatures, look at that. Interesting. Got quite a range of random stuff there, haven't we? Not necessarily a complaint, but still. Nice to see them still being circulated one way or another. And if you want an amble, it looks like that's your way to get it. They have the Beast Pits, a rogues gallery of unlikely heroes, previously only available in Warhammer Quest Blackstone Fortress. Yep. Against a monstrous amble in grueling combat. Wait, you can get it in the USA and Germany. Nowhere else? No? Alright. And Space Marine, the board game, is going to be coming to retailers in Germany and Japan. Okay. One day I'll understand the distribution ideas behind those. Oh, you can get an officially licensed Games Workshop lanyard? And a badge? Sure. If you want an officially licensed lanyard, then you can get it. There you go. Bet you're super happy about that, aren't you? Elsewhere at WarhammerCommunity.com. Okay, so we've got some interviews coming up. That'll be maybe interesting. We'll have to see. And finally, Battle Report and a Citadel Colour Masterclass. And the Citadel Colour app is being... Oh, okay, interesting. The Colour app is being updated on the 23rd of August. There are more paint by model guides than ever, with 2,700 available to view. Good grief. Good grief. I mean, to be fair to them, the Citadel Colour app is not bad. I mean, it's obviously far more helpful if you mostly use Citadel Colour, which I don't. But if you did use mostly Citadel Colour, it would be extremely helpful. I'm like split 50-50 between two thin coats and scale 75. So not massively helpful for me, but oh, they're not the heavy metal recipes, but the pictures on them are heavy. Oh god. Here's the way we paint all our stuff. Here are tutorials for how to paint our stuff. No, that's not how we do it. Then again, right, let's be honest. Let's be honest here. Let's be real. I'm still 99% sure that some of the stuff that is painted for display by Games Workshop is not painted using Citadel. I genuinely think there are other colours that sneak in. Not only that, I don't just, think there are other colours that sneak in, but I also don't think that they just use Citadel paintbrushes. Like I've heard people who work for or worked for Games Workshop talk about using like Winsor & Newton and stuff. Like, I know they have to, and I know it's like here's how you paint our stuff with our paints. But at the same time, I just don't... I don't know, maybe I'm totally wrong. I probably am, but I just feel like, there are occasionally moments where it doesn't seem like what is being used is actually coming from their line, I mean, one of the things that got me... Oh yeah, no, they're not gonna do that. One of the things that got me was it's a mix of two different things, right? Like Alpha Legion. When Alpha Legion models first started showing up, like painted models for the Horus Heresy, that metallic green that they are, like kind of metallic turquoise, and also the like metallic red of the Thousand Suns. Straight away for both of those, I was like, and what are you using for that? What are you using to get that finish? What's going on here then? Because I don't know that you've got any paints that do that, have you? Like, I just felt like I'd not seen those finishes from them before, and it never felt like there was a satisfactory answer as to how those finishes were achieved, and I can't remember whether they ever did say, like, this is how we paint these, but I don't know. Just when they first showed up, it just felt really weird because it was so unlike anything else they'd done before from what I could remember. I mean, that's the thing that got me. It's like, yeah, there's definitely a metallic undercoat going on, but it was like the kind of relatively see-through nature of the next layers, which I'd not seen them use previously. Was contrast a thing when the first of those models were being shown off? Now I just can't remember when things showed up. Like, the timescale, it's something that I've found increasingly, and I don't know whether this is just me, I really struggle to hold on to when things showed up, like when things were released. It feels like contrast has both been around forever, like literally forever, and is also relatively new. It feels like both. And the same thing happens with miniatures. Like, the sheer amount of like model releases means that I'll sit there and be like, oh man, it's been so long since like the Lion was revealed. It's been so long since the Lion was revealed. He's been around for years. He's been up for sale for like years at this point, but he hasn't. He definitely hasn't. Like, it feels like that, but it's not actually true. Everything feels simultaneously like it's been here forever, and also like it's only just shown up. You know? It makes it so difficult to remember what's happened when. It's like when they do the what was your favourite miniature of the year, and I try and think of the miniatures that were revealed in the year, and my eyes glaze over and my nose starts to bleed because I can't retain that much information, and I'm trying to access something that frankly is so overwhelming that there's just no way. And I'm like, what was released this year? What did we get this year? I don't know. Like, I actually don't. We've covered all of it on the channel. Like, most model reveals and releases we cover right here. But can I remember them at the end of the year? Absolutely not. I find myself remembering things from, like, the year before sometimes instead. It's just so much. There's just so much. Like, it sometimes I'll sit there and be like, God damn, the rate of release is just relentless. It is just it's just constant, never ending, like, to an extent that I don't think I appreciate until I go and try and remember what it was that we've seen. You know? And that's not, like, necessarily a criticism. It's just, like, if anything, it just shows how old I'm getting. Yeah. Right, Tim? Just getting old. Just old. It's just age. It's just old. Does the steel helm requirement for the Fusilier battle line... Oh, I haven't actually seen that bit, I don't think. I'll have to have a look at that. I'll have to have a look at the rules properly. Remember when Leagues of Votan was an April 1st thing? I called it. Just saying, I called it. Totally called it. Pfft. The new Space Marine stuff will be... What's the next big event? What's the next big community event? Is there one coming up? I can't remember what we've got next up. It's not Adepticon, is it? What is it? Whatever the next big thing is, they'll do it then. They won't have it as a... I don't think they'll have it as a Warhammer preview online that's just like a standalone thing. I'm trying to remember what we've got coming up. Is there some big event? Again, impossible to keep track. Impossible unless you're going. Started Warhammer 33 years ago. Jesus Christ. Yeah, okay. I don't feel quite as old now. Is Nova this weekend? August 30th to September 3rd. So yeah, there is Nova on the way. Would they reveal it there? I don't know. Yeah, I started in like the early 2001. Was it 2001, 2002? Whenever 3rd edition was. Whenever 3rd edition was. What a terrible way to measure time. I started like just after 3rd edition started, so whenever that was. Right now, the only thing probably be the one plus miniature reveal. Yeah. Oh, sorry. I don't know that they're going to do October again, really. We had that one case of October, however long ago that was. Not really had October since. Other companies have been doing October. Like, I've been perfectly happy to take a look at other Octobers, but... Yeah. Fusiliers only become battle line for each unit of steel helms you take in your list. So if you want 2 units of 30 for 60 Fusiliers, you'd need at least 2 units of steel helms. Okay. Ah, boo. Boo! Why? Why? Just give me... Nah, just... I don't want that. I want all Fusiliers. It's not even, it wouldn't even be good. Like, it wouldn't even be that good. Probably. I don't know. Year of the Xenos that had Space Marine releases all year. Well, yeah, but you've got to... Space Marines get sad if they don't get a reveal every couple of months. Weeks. It's less months and more weeks, isn't it? Let's be honest. You got to give them their participation trophy. Still don't understand why the new Orc Boys kit exists in the way that it does. It's not really a true replacement of the old one. Look, I wish I could tell you. I wish I could tell you. It is. Yeah. It's so weird. Oh God. Hey, all right. Here we go. We've redesigned the Orc Boys. Oh wow, it's such an old kit. That's amazing. You redesigned the Orc Boys? Yeah. We redesigned the Orc Boys. Oh cool. What did you do? Well, we made a monopose. Oh well, it's not perfect. But what else did you do? Well, we made it so you can not have just melee or just ranged. We kind of made it so you have to have both. Oh, okay. Why did you do that then? Oh, and then we just sort of stuck it in a box, but you know, we've not really done anything else. Oh, brilliant. What was the point of this? I don't know. I just don't know. I've got nothing for you. I couldn't tell you. We did it, and then we sort of ignored it, and this is where we're at now. Oh. Do you want to explain what the hell you're doing? We don't know that either. Just leave us alone. Don't talk to us. It's not our fault. It's not our fault. Well, you literally made it. No. Don't give me that. It's not our fault. Just baffling. Like, absolutely baffling. Like, you know what? I've blocked this out for way too long. I've blocked it out for so long. Like, no, Keith, I haven't found Barry. I haven't looked, to be honest. I should probably find him. £27.50. Orc Boys. You can give them all choppers, or you can give them all shooters. Then we've got just boys. Not Orc Boys, just boys. Now, the boys are functionally the same as the Orc Boys, but you get 5 choppers, you get 3 shooters, you get a knob, and you get a special weapon. That's just what you get. There's no way to build a single, like a melee or a ranged squad. You have to build them with a mix, which means you need to buy 3 boxes of boys to be able to build 1 squad of boys with shooters. But then again, you can also buy the Beast Snagger boys, which do have just melee option. Why? I would love to know why. I would love for someone to sit down and explain why they went this route with it. Like, I genuinely would love that. Because on the surface of it, it looks like it makes no sense. But it can't possibly be as dumb as it looks. You know? It can't be. And yet here we are. And I'm looking at it, and I'm like, but they look better than these. But you fumbled it so weirdly. And they cost more. They cost more for, like, less options. No. Nope. Hard no on that. You'll need lots of heroes to support them if you have an army of nothing but Fusiliers. You probably die to anything in melee. Yeah, that's fine. I want to die in melee. That's how I want to go out. It's like no one thought about it. Even just just the name, Boys and Orc Boys. It's like even they recognised, oh, we can't call them the Orc Boys because we got Orc Boys, but instead of stopping selling the Orc Boys, we'll just sell the new ones, but just call them Boys. Why? Just madness. It's just madness. Madness all round. You know what? I've just thought. Can you get the helicopters out of this separately? I don't know that you can you? The Defcopters. I always forget what they're called. Can you get the Defcopters separately? Okay, you can. That's fine. Are they the same ones that are in this box? Because the Black Reach ones were great, and then they just decided that they were never going to release those separately in any way, shape, or form, which was, again, a fascinating decision. In fact, are these the ones from the Black Reach box? Or are these slightly altered ones? I can't remember what the Black Reach ones look like now. They looked like this, right? Yeah, it's just the same. It's the same. They look like it, but I don't think they were it, were they? Or were they those ones? It gets so much... It gets so, like, tangled. It gets so tangled. So easy to forget what came before. Because, frankly, there's been a lot of releases over the years. Yeah, okay, they're not exactly the same. They're just mostly similar. Yeah, a quick Google image says they're not the same. Which, to be fair, given how long it took to get new Defcopters, it's just as well that they're new, frankly. I think them waiting that long to only then just re-release what they've been hiding for years would be a choice. Let's put it that way. It'd be a choice. It'd be a real choice. A hell of a choice. Oh yeah, the Chaos Warrior kits. I'd totally forgotten about that. You're right. Did you mention that before? Yeah. Guess for the Orc Boys, they're going to get Chaos Warriored. New Chaos Warrior sculpts and start collecting Slaves of Darkness. Then one edition later, we get another new kit of them. I think you're probably right there, actually. I think you're probably right. That makes the most sense, doesn't it? It's so... it's so hard to keep up with, just in general. Oh. Right. We've been live for an hour and a half. I have got so much stuff to do. I am so far behind on so many things. And there's a video that I need to have done for tomorrow, which I'm hoping you'll like. I mean, I'll be upset if you don't. So I need to go and carry on with that. But we've had a ramble. We've had multiple ideas for kitbashing. We've complained. We've talked about why it's not hypocritical for Games Workshop to 3D print stuff. I don't know how agreeable that is to a lot of people, but, you know, it's just one idiot's opinion in it. Now, before we go anywhere, if you could take a moment to like the stream, because that helps the channel. It helps do stuff. It helps everything work. I don't know. It's an ephemeral thing. It does a thing, but how effective that thing is, only YouTube knows. Only YouTube can tell us, and they won't ever tell us, because they want us to live in ignorance and fear. Which, I mean, is very 40k, to be honest. Not that that's something we necessarily want for the real world. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, everyone. There will be a video tomorrow. There'll most likely be a video at some point today. And YouTube members and patrons, there's going to be a couple of exclusives for you this week. So keep your eyes peeled. Horrible turn of phrase. Don't actually peel your eyes. Just, you know, stay alert. Stay on it. Right. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you for the next one. Toodaloo.